Hi everyone, this is Hillary Ellers from Lightworks Studio, and today I'm very excited about the lesson. This is a topic that I feel is one of the most interesting metaphysical topics, and when I first started teaching 53 or 4 years ago, not many people knew about the whole concept of humans, space beings, and devas. And now it's much more common to, know of this, or it's out there more. The woman that I studied with was a real pioneer, Ann Manser. She wrote the Shusta material. It's Shustah, Shusta. And that is really the foundation of a lot of my studies and teachings. So she was exceptionally in tune with the evolutions, and that's what this topic is roughly called. So today we're going to be exploring what are the humans, the space beings, and the devas, and that's D-E-V-A, deva. The word deva translates to mean angel or messenger, and the devas are said to be, in a way, the in-between beings between the Creator and humanity. And they carry energy and messages back and forth. They are called the great winged beings because they are seen as having wings. And the wings are actually energy arcs, because the devas work particularly through their heart centers. They are the great feeling beings, the beings of great compassion and emotion, and they work so much through the heart and the heart energy. And the wings are said to actually be great arcs of energy that come and go out of their hearts. And so even though they are thought to be winged, and in art the depictions of angels always have wings, and I have seen angels, and the angels I see have had wings. I still believe that those wings are actually energy arcs. It's not as important the form, the body form, that the wings are there, or the space beings and humans don't have wings. That's not as significant or as important, even though they're even referred to as the winged beings. What is most important is the quality of consciousness. And the devas have a particular kind of consciousness. Space beings and humans have a different kind of consciousness. And you may be already getting it from the way I'm talking about this, but humans and space beings are more alike. Their quality of consciousness is more similar than the Devic consciousness. The earth is called a seeding ground. It's also called a dark planet. And when people hear that, dark planet, it's easy to associate that with something bad. Like, oh, is it an evil place? Whatever. No, not at all. In fact, the quality of Earth is very special. Earth is a real melting pot of lots and lots of different types of beings. And some planets, the inhabitants of those planets are all very similar and not very different from each other. Here on Earth, we are very, very different. And that's part of the challenge I feel in being here, that we all are learning more about differences. We're learning more about cooperation. We're learning more about compromise, acceptance, lack of judgment, which I guess acceptance is, but it's very powerful. The whole energy of Earth, it's very, in a way, turbulent, and there is power and movement and a lot of energy going on here, partly because we are all so unique and different. And my sense has been for a long time that it's very much a privilege to be on the earth, to be in a human body. I mean, I know you may go, ah, ring the buzzer, you know, or something, but I had this image at one time that people coming into the earth to inhabit human bodies were kind of elbowing each other like people at a sale, you know, like when the chickens all go on sale at Kroger or something and people are grabbing for them. I felt that human bodies and the pattern of human life was very exceptional. It is very exceptional, and people wanted a chance to get in here because of the differences we have. This is on one level stressful, and on another level very, very much promotes growth and the expansion of consciousness. So to be here on Earth, you can actually grow faster or grow more than you would in many, many other places or planets. Now, according to the Shusta teachings, there are 32 different types of beings who come into the earth. 32. Those 32 types are mainly coming into 3 specific categories, which we've already been talking about: the humans, the space beings, and the Devas. Now, if we let's look at the humans first. For beings, and I'm going to call the humans who have evolved through the Earth system, because when the space beings come in, they inhabit a human body. When the Devas come in, they inhabit a human body, but they did not really build a lot of their consciousness in the Earth system. So the humans are the beings who came up through the younger kingdoms of the earth. And this is a very hard concept for some people to get or to even imagine. Sometimes my partner asks me questions, not very often. He'll ask me a question about some of the metaphysical philosophy or ideas. And he saw my notes for our class today. And he said, so you think that some people are from outer space? And I said, yeah, I think so. And Devas, he couldn't even get that. You know, it's like he didn't even ask about that. He maybe didn't see the notes on that. But it's very hard for a lot of people to believe some of this. And, you know, one of the things I always say is believe what you want, take what you can, set the other right here aside a bit. Don't discard it, but just put it on hold and see if you grow into it or you grow away from it. And you may find out that certain ideas and teachings you just don't believe. You just don't. They don't feel right to you. Don't worry about it. Set them aside. And in all the teachings, I encourage you to do that. So this is an idea that is takes imagination. Let's put it that way. When the beings who come up through the Earth system are first ready to be physical, because I'm going to refer back to our last lesson when we were talking about the involutional arc and the evolutional arc. And if you didn't catch that lesson, look at it. It's probably better to look at that lesson or hear it before you even get into this lesson. It'll make this lesson will make more sense if you refer back to lesson 5. So the humans, the real solid original humans, came down from the Creator, coming through all the different dimensions until they were ready to be physical. And when they first became physical, they didn't pop into human bodies. Nope. They came into mineral form. And what I want you to really think about, to give this idea a chance, that you are deeply, deeply related to the minerals, the plants, and the animals. In fact, they are our brothers and sisters. They are our siblings. And they are coming along behind us, heading toward being human. So you have actually built part of your self-awareness by being a mineral, a plant, and then an animal, and finally a human. When humans first become physical, they move into mineral bodies, and they learn, we learn, not they, it's us. We learn about the building of form. Minerals are all about form building, and that's the level of themselves they're becoming aware of. They are not aware of any other parts of themselves, just form. After long, long eons of time moving through the mineral experience, minerals are ready to graduate, and at the turning of the age, which we're right at right now, during the cusp period, which we're right at the middle of right now, the doors between the kingdoms swing open, and all the beings who are most evolved in each kingdom, who have learned all that they need to from that journey through each kingdom, the beings move forward and graduate. So the minerals, the most evolved minerals, move from mineral experience into the experience of being plants. And in the plant world, consciousness expands and begins to be aware of sensation. Minerals have no sensation. They feel no pain, no pleasure, just form. Plants have an exquisite sense of pain and pleasure. And in that journey through the plant kingdom, we become connected to and aware of our ability to have sensation. Again, after we learn all that we need to by being a plant, and I have no idea in years to tell you, if we measure it in earth years, I have no idea. Let me just say, I would say almost inconceivable how long we move through each kingdom. But when plants have learned everything they need to learn about being plants, they graduate at the turning of an age during the cusp period, and they move into the animal experience. So, the plant that is graduating to become an animal is aware of its form and its form body, and it is aware of sensation. In the animal experience, consciousness grows again, and animals are all about learning feelings and emotions. And I feel in some ways, and it's very touching to me to even think about, but I feel in some ways that animals suffer so deeply because they are learning about feelings. They're learning emotion. And I worry a lot about the animals that are individuating and moving out of the animal group soul, starting to become individuals and aware of themselves as individuals, and they really need connection with humans, but they may not get that. Or if they do, their experience with humans may be very painful. And I have often thought that to an animal, we must seem like God, that we must seem like the Creator. And when an animal is mistreated, of course, children are mistreated too and abused. But it's very sad to me that we can line up with a concept of the Creator that may be negative. And I do believe everything's right. I believe it with all my heart, and it saved me from a lot of suffering that I believe that. And I've told you before, but sometimes I worry or wonder if my beliefs are defense mechanisms to keep me from suffering. You know, I have thought of that. And so be it. That's what I say. If that's what they are, they keep me from suffering, it's a good thing. So just know that animals are the exquisite feeling beings. And when they have had all the experience they need in the animal world, they graduate as well. Again, at the turning of an age, during the cusp period, they step forward into human form. So for the humans, the original, genuine humans who have come up through all the kingdoms, those humans have learned about form as a mineral. They have learned about sensation as a plant. And I'm saying they, you know, it's interesting. I must not have claimed this enough yet, because it's not they, it's we. We learned about form. We learned about sensation. We learned about feelings and emotions. And finally then, we become human. When we are in the human experience, we begin to learn about intellect, thinking. And the more evolved humans move even beyond that into learning and experiencing themselves as spiritual beings. So I've often joked about this in a way, and yet I'm serious too. It's sort of evident that as humans we're focusing a lot on intellect and the building of our minds and our mind power, because it seems like most parents are much more concerned about their children's education than they are concerned about their children's spiritual ideas or beliefs. And so perhaps that is just as it should be, because in this human experience, the real growing arena is around the building of intellect and contact with the part of us that thinks. So, what about devas and space beings? If they are here, and I believe they are totally, they are with us and among us, I've often wondered what percent of humanity might be Devic or spatial. I wonder. I've never known. I've never really gotten an answer for that. But in the beginning, I used to think it was really special to be a space being who was in a human body. It was really special to be a deva who was in a human body. And I thought of it as maybe even a little exotic or unusual or whatever. I don't think that anymore. Now I just think it's just common as flapjacks. It's like lots and lots of people are space beings who have come into human form and who are devas who have come into human form. When space beings and devas choose, and it is a choice, when they choose to be human, they don't go through the mineral, plant, and animal kingdoms. They come in directly to human form. And whatever they need or have as their foundation of self-awareness, they have already gained in their origins, in their own worlds. The space beings learned about form and pain and pleasure and thinking in whatever their building blocks of consciousness are. And the devas, it is the same for them. So before a deva or a space being becomes human, they need to be equal to humans in evolution. They need to have that foundation. When they change over to be humans, they give up an essential awareness of themselves, and they step into a whole new world. Just imagine what it must be like to have been something really different than human, and you decide to experiment with being human, and you come in as a human, and you meet the physical world, and it's like, wow. Devas have a much harder time becoming human than space beings do. Space beings and humans, and I said this already, but they are much more similar. One of the reasons they're similar is space beings and humans are wired up in a similar way energetically. And now I'm talking about the chakras, you know, and the energy centers of the body. Humans and space beings primarily work out of our head centers, and we are primarily thinking and reasoning beings. Devas, totally different. As I was saying earlier, they work out of their heart centers. Devas are not dumb. When people think of them as not so much thinking like humans and space beings, it's easy to think they're not smart. But that isn't true at all. In fact, they may even be smarter than the beings who work with intellect. Devas know through pure, direct feeling. They just know. It's a feeling for them, how they know. And in their own origins, in their own home place, they don't have to think about stuff. They just know. It's a feeling. I think that is so interesting because being an intuitive, as I am, a lot of what I know is a pure feeling. It's not reasoned. And, you know, I'll say things sometimes and someone might say, how do you know? And I'll go, I feel it. I feel it, you know, my authority. I feel it. So that's how Devas work. They feel and then they know. Humans and space beings use logic, reason, mental strategies. We figure things out as humans with our minds and thinking. And I think it's easy for humans to put down people who know directly by feeling. Humans, in fact, even now, many people do not believe in intuition or psychism. Many people think that's, if they do believe in it, they think it's something bad and you shouldn't do it, don't be involved in it, when it is just so essentially natural. It's just as much a part of us as our hair. You know, it's like, I hope and I feel, I do believe that the human race is growing so that as a group, we will be able to honor people who are intuitive and psychic and not make them outcast. And I do think that's starting to happen, that in a lot of places in the world, research is going on now about consciousness. And in that research, there is studies and research regarding intuition and psychic experiences. And I'm really glad that's happening. So let's go back for a moment and look at the qualities that humans have. How do you know someone's human and an original human? Humans who are original humans tend to be, not always now, there are always exceptions, and yet they tend to be grounded, more or less practical. They tend to be work-oriented, like humans really work hard. They like to work. There's something about work, you know, that's good for humans, and humans enjoy work. Humans attend to the details of earth living. You know, they're the people who clean the streets. They're the people who watch and guard the weather, you know, try to protect the earth in the changes we're putting the earth through. So humans are what we might call the salt of the earth. They are the backbone of the earth. Now, there is a theory, let's talk about space beings, and since space beings are similar to humans, some people believe, and I'm kind of like the jury's out for me a little bit on this one. I'm leaning toward believing, but not convinced about anything regarding what space beings are like or about. I totally believe in them, let me say that, and they are here, no doubt. I mean, it's amazing to me when people think they're not here, you know. How could you think that when it's becoming so much more evident they're here. So space beings, when they become human, they have an easier time than the Devas in the change because they're wired up to, as humans are, in a similar way. They also work with their head centers. They work primarily with logic and thinking. Space beings, when they choose to be human, sometimes the less evolved space beings who come in as human sometimes have a superiority attitude, and they may think they're better than a lot of people. Or I think some of the lesser evolved spatial beings who come in kind of look down their noses at humanity, like, humanity is so unevolved. And it's not an awareness like, wow, this is where we're at. Sometimes I think that. This is where we're at, like kind of a surprise, maybe even a disappointment. But for these space beings, they have a real zing with it that it's not good. It's not right, shouldn't be, la la la. And they know more. They are better than that. Now, as more evolved space beings come into the earth, they are very different, or even perhaps when space beings have been here for quite a while and they grow by being here. They're very different. They're not judging humanity. They begin to feel a pull to help humanity and to be a part of, to assist in whatever ways they can. One of the similarities between humans and ETs, and this is a theory of what happened. There's a place in the evolution of humans when there was a huge jump forward. Scientists say it was too fast. It could not have happened through natural selection. It happened so quickly, and the brains of people, humans, changed so fast. The theory is that ETs, the space beings, actually spliced part of their DNA into the DNA of the beings who were the more evolved primates. And the human race was born. Now again, a lot of these ideas, if they're brand new ideas for you, you may go, what? Or whatever, or you may not. It may feel right. It may resonate immediately for you. But as I'm saying, don't discard, just set aside. Just, your pantry can be full of things you're still, as I say, the jury's out on that one. I believe that something happened that I feel I am leaning strongly toward believing that the space beings influenced the development of humanity. And it's very complex now, what I'm going to suggest. And it's sort of like a brain teaser or twister. Some people believe that ETs are us, that they are human, but they are from the far future, and that they are time traveling back to who they were. But think of it this way. What does this mean if the space beings are time travelers? I think they are. I think they can do that, and I think they probably are time travelers. At least some of them. Some of them. So what does it mean if beings from our future came back and spliced the DNA with who they were or are into primates so that humans were born? And it's sort of convoluted. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. People from the future came back and created humans, but I think it's possible. I really do. I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to try to make it as short as I can because I can get down the winding road on stories, which you know if you've been studying with me at all. One of the interesting things that happened is that in England, there is an Air Force base, and it is called Rendlesham Air Force Base. There is a forest near it that is called Rendlesham Forest. I'm sorry that I don't have the year to tell you when this happened, but there was a point when this red light was seen, a glowing disc, and the people at the Air Force Base became very alarmed. They were witnessing this, and two specific airmen were sent out to investigate because the disc appeared to crash or land in the forest. The two men who were assigned to go check this out followed the light through the woods, and they came upon a UFO. And it was not huge. It wasn't big. The feeling I had is it was kind of like maybe a Volkswagen. It wasn't huge. It was acorn-shaped. And it was very smooth and metallic. And there were writings on the disc that appeared to be similar to hieroglyphs. The two airmen came upon this and were, in awe. They walked up and touched the craft and ran their hands across the letters. They both, as a result, had radiation burns. They had problems with their eyes. They had other health things happen. The disc took off and was, not known in terms of what happened. What was it really? What was it about? Now I'm mixing up my story. A few days after encountering the disc, one of the airmen had the urge to write down something he was sensing. And it was such a strong urge, he did it. And when he began to write, he was just writing a binary code of zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. And he wrote like 8 pages of this, just solid. It was as if he was receiving dictation. And he didn't understand why he wrote it. He didn't understand if it had any meaning. And he couldn't control the urge. He just did it. Now, years later, someone who was a translator who translated codes looked at this material, the binary code, and was able to interpret part of it. And part of what was interpreted was this, and I'm not giving you an exact quote. This is sort of what it meant. We have been here up until the present, or are now here. We have been here and are now here for the aid and support of humanity and the planet. Our origin is 80,100. And what they meant, that was the year they came from. They came from 80,100. Isn't that mind-blowing? It is for me. So, in this case, whoever was communicating was definitely from the future. So I'm going to bring now the lesson to a close for today, and we're going to pick up right here in our next lesson and continue. Thank you. Let's meditate. In this moment, simply allow yourself to feel what it feels like to breathe. And really let yourself enjoy your breathing. Perhaps this is the first time all day that you have slowed down enough to pay attention to your body, every incoming breath is bringing a soothing wave of relaxation to you. And feel that wave gently washing over your entire body. Feel your muscles relaxing, growing longer, letting down. Every incoming breath is bringing a soothing wave of relaxation through your entire body. Every outgoing breath is carrying with it all of the stress of this day. All out and away from you. Every incoming breath is bringing deep relaxation. Every outgoing breath is carrying with it all of the stress, all of the concern, all of the pressure of this day, out and away from you. And when you feel that you have relaxed as much as you possibly can, relax more deeply. From this deeply relaxed place, you are in touch, in tune with parts of yourself that are not usually available. Imagine that you are aware of how large your energy is. And in this largeness of being that you are, imagine that you are aware of your history. Allow yourself to experience the depth, the largeness, all of the many experiences you have had that have helped you become who you are. Just let yourself experience your own history. the amazing story of your being. Imagine now that you experience your own history as a feeling, as a color, as a type of music. And allow yourself to be in awe of the beauty and majesty of your essence, the beauty and the majesty of your journey as a soul. Just take in whatever you are aware of. And know that you can return to this sacred place. You can explore your own being whenever you want to. Hold all of this within yourself, within your awareness, and gradually now begin to return. Give thanks for your own sacred being. Allow yourself to return to your surface level of consciousness. Find yourself safely anchored in your physical body, safely contained in your physical form. And as you return, allow yourself to stretch or move a bit. Rub your face, rub your hands together, rub your legs, and find yourself returned. Thank you. Take care.